There are countless times I've heard the phrase for some games being, "It's good," and "It's worth playing," but never going into detail. So games like that never stuck around enough for me to go, yeah, I should play it. The Max Payne series is one of them. Before I sat down and played it recently, I never touched the series, which is strange because it's a game from the 6th generation of consoles, and it's from Rockstar Games at its peak. Hell, I've heard more stories about Manhunt and Warriors, both games that I want to take a look at, than I've heard of Max Payne. And it makes sense. It wasn't developed by Rockstar Games, and I'll get into that. Now, the only reason I'm looking at the first Max Payne is because one day at Goodwill, I found it for the Xbox. And then I found the sequel there too. And then I found the original again, but this time in a PC big box. So I picked it up, along with True Crime Streets of LA and Spider-Man 2. Sadly, the PC version that I picked up didn't have the mousepad, but it was cool since it was the PC big box. One day I'll find the mousepad, but it hasn't popped up on eBay yet, but one day. And if it wasn't for that day, I probably would have looked the series later rather than sooner. And because of that day, I pretty much had the entire series minus the third game, which I would later buy on Steam. So I might as well start with the first one. I'll be mostly focusing on the PC version you can get on Steam with the fan PC patch that fixes the audio. But I do also own the Xbox version and the mobile version. And, with a bit of a bonus, we can also talk about the GBA version, because I want to talk about it. The game is also on PS2, PS3, and PS4 via PS2 emulation, and the Xbox version is out for Xbox backwards compatibility, and it's enhanced. I don't know what is enhanced, because I don't own an Xbox One, but it is. And to add to this, Remedy just announced that they are remaking Max Payne 1 and 2 right after I finished typing the script. So, cool. So Max Payne is a third-person shooter where you play as titled man, Max Payne, an ex-NYPD officer voiced by James McCaffrey. And in this one, he has the face of the writer of the game, Sam Lake. Out for revenge for his murdered family like the Punisher, but not full Frank Castle, the game's main gimmick is being the epitome of guns in the 2000s. Bullet time. The bullets themselves aren't hit scan based, but you can see the bullets during bullet time. I should also add that there's a pause, and what it does, it circles the camera around you. So I like to use it with a bullet time jump to make it look cool. You also have a variety of weapons, like Max's iconic Berettas, shotguns, bats, explosives, the usual for a gun game. The gunplay is fine, it's pretty solid, and it works well with a mouse and keyboard. And it's okay with a controller. Your health is a silhouette of Max, I think, and you regain health by taking painkillers. Remember kids, do a drug. Anyway, the game isn't super difficult, but the enemies are kind of bullet sponges later in the game, so it does get kind of difficult. I did die a couple times, and the game respawns you at the beginning of the chapter since it autosaves there. In the console version, the respawn is nicer since the game's chapters are cut into sub-chapters. It has pretty straightforward chapters, with a story being told through Max's in-game narration, and in these comic-style cutscenes, which work really, really well, and it adds to the charm of the game.
A letter on the desk caught my eye.
Bosses!
I'd met Lupino only once. The gangster ran all his rackets through his right-hand man, Vinny Gognitti. Gognitti was a high-strung whiner on the verge of breaking apart, like an overamped Energizer bunny. He had the brains to run the business, but he lacked the balls, always falling short, taking his frustration out on underage addicts and call girls.
So, you know how I said it was a Rockstar game? Well, kinda. It was developed by Remedy Entertainment, who are now known for games like Control and Alan Wake. It was produced by 3D Realms, known for games like Duke Nukem 3D and Ion Fury. And Rockstar, well, they helped develop the PS2, Xbox, and GBA version. Now, after the release of Max Payne, Take-Two Interactive, the owners of Rockstar Games, and 2K, bought the IP from Remedy and 3D Realms. And that's why Max Payne is a Rockstar game now. Anyway, depending on what version you play, you have some differences like console of choice. Since the game was originally released in July of 2001 for the PC, the console ports were released in December of 2001, and they have some changes to the environment, and the chapters are split into sub-chapters due to system limitations at the time, and some cutscene graphics edits due to recent events at the time. So let's move on with the story. The story has 22 chapters split into 3 parts: The American Dream, A Cold Day in Hell, and A Bit Closer to Heaven. I'm only going to talk about the general intro of the game since it is getting a remake, so I won't be covering it all. Only up to Chapter 4 anyway. Let's begin. Starting off 3 years before the main plot, we have Max arriving home after a long day of work on the force. His home is completely ransacked, and Max rushes to find and help his wife and daughter. But he was too late. They were both murdered by some drug addicts. Back to the current time, he is sent to meet up with another officer in the subway. In the subway, Max finds someone murdered, and it's time to bust out the Beretta. Shooting his way through the subway, he finds a worker that can get the subway car moving again. He leads Max to the control center, only to find a goon that kills the subway worker. After getting the subway working again, he hops into a nearby train to get closer to the criminals that are behind this. Max's trail ends in a bank vault. In there, the bank robbers took bombs from the Acer company, and he finds some explosives to continue his way through the subway. After using explosives on a door, he meets up with the person he was going to meet originally, DEA agent Alex Balder. Max explains that it's the henchman of a mob boss called Jack Lupino, and suddenly, Balder meets his untimely demise, and Max escapes from the subway. After that, Max is now on a quest to find Jack Lupino, and he goes to his hotel first. Only inside, he meets up with the Finito brothers. Max asks them if Lupino is in the building, and the brothers inform him that he isn't. They have a shootout, and Max takes them both out. Max narrates the way to get to Jack Lupino is through his right-hand man, Vinny Gognetti. He finds a paper from Vinny informing Max about a V-deal going on, knowing that it'll be more packed with enforcers. Max now needs to escape the building, and going through the hotel, Max hears radio informing that the crisis of a drug called Valkyrie, as I like to call it, super crack, is still going on. And the incident in the subway has been reported, and the death of Alex Balder is being pinned on Max Payne. He later sees a similar report, this time on the TV. Max finds a hotel room that was booby-trapped, and in there he finds a letter about how the deal's about to go down. Max goes through more of the hotel, only to find a person dead on the floor with a baseball bat, and a comic next to him. Going through the hotel, he ends up at a bar where our first boss, Rico Muerte, is getting a blowjob. He gets gunned down by Max. Max, looking for an exit, finds a phone switchboard, and after that, an injured mob goon informs Gognetti that Max is cleaning them out, and Max has his next target. He goes to the casino and ends up in the lobby where he takes out a wave of goons and exits the building. And that's where I'm going to leave it. The game gets insane from there, from weird drug trips to killing insane amount of goons. It's a surprisingly solid story, with my main complaint being the ending. There is a bonus chapter that is unlocked once you finish the game on the third and highest difficulty. All it is just a bonus level where you can see the Remedy logo. Okay, so what was with the Game Boy Advance version? Well, how the hell do you port a PC game that already had to be cut down on current consoles at the time into a portable Super Nintendo? Make the third-person shooter action into an isometric shooter? Kinda similar to Metal Gear Solid on the Game Boy Color. Released in 2003 and developed by Mobius Interactive, who later became Rockstar Leeds right after the release of Max Payne on GBA, they're known for the developing of both Grand Theft Auto Liberty City and Vice City Stories for the PSP, and helped port the PSP versions of The Warriors, another game I want to look at, Midnight Club 3, and Manhunt 2. The GBA version is surprisingly solid. It has pretty much everything from the PC game, just with the story abridged a bit, going from 22 chapters to 11 chapters. Even the bullet time is there, it even has the voice acting and cutscenes, the audio is super crunchy but it's still surprisingly impressive.
I was still on the force back then, NYPD, Manhattan, Midtown North Precinct, Hell's Kitchen. So when are you coming to work for me, Detective Payne? You'd make me work undercover in some hellhole. Sorry, Alex. Show the baby come first. See? My last smoke. Stab for the baby. That's you, Max. A regular Boy Scout. See, Alex. Still out for poker Thursday night, right? Like taking candy from a baby.
This time, you have lives in this game instead of just starting from a save like the console or PC version, but it's really cool seeing the locales from the main version into the GBA, and the music is surprisingly enjoyable. So is it worth playing this version? Kinda. It's just a neat footnote on the history of Max Payne. It's also one of the more pricier GBA games, trending to $30 to $45 at the time. Not insane pricing these days, but more than I would like. Now the mobile port is, the mobile port. For Android and iOS, it costs $2.99, and I have the Android version. It's the full PC version at the palm of my hand, and it plays great. It takes a bit to get used to the touch controls, but it works with a gamepad if you're into that thing. But if you want to play this version with proper controls, the Android version got ported to the Vita, and it plays great. the full game on the go like this. And it's surprisingly my preferred way to play Max Payne at the moment. All thanks to people who know how to homebrew the Vita. Overall, Max Payne is a solid game, and it still holds up today. I can still recommend the original version on Steam. I don't know if they're going to delist it due to remakes, but hopefully not. It is Rockstar, it wouldn't be surprising me if they remove them, just like how they got rid of the GTA trilogy on Steam for their crappy remake. And after playing this, I gotta say I'm a fan of the series and looking forward to play the second and third game down the road, but not next. We got a series to get back to. So I don't know how long the next video is going to be because I'm moving again. We'll see, but we are going back to a game series that I do want to finish. Anyway, I've been Fonzie. You can follow me on Twitter at Fonzie's Revenge. I've been trying to stream as much as I can on twitch.tv/Fonzman, and that gets uploaded at my archive channel. Hopefully see you sooner rather than later, but we will see. I'll see you next time.